Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Machan Le'ira Online Smicha. One of the minhagim that's brought in Shulchan Aruch that we do before Yom Kippur is the minig of kaporos. And there are many dinim connected with this minig. The whole Simon Shulchan Aruch that talks about it, the how, the when, and the where. I want to concentrate on the where, which is not really designated to any specific place. But we find that in the bigger communities or those communities that have to do it hush-hush, that sometimes there are people that do it in their backyard, the kaporos, and they shecht in the backyard. And I want to discuss a tshuva that I saw in a sefer about an issue that came up, that somebody decided to be helpful to the community and do kaporos in his backyard, but his neighbor didn't really like it. And the neighbor wanted to stop it for two reasons. The reasons he wanted to stop it, number one, he said that being that there will be shchita, so there will be blood all over, and he can't stand the sight of blood. That's one reason. And another reason is that if you're going to do shchita and you're going to have chickens there, it's going to attract flies. Those are the two reasons that the neighbor came to Bezdin and said, please stop. Don't allow my neighbor to host the kapara ceremony because I don't like blood, the sight of blood, and I don't want it to attract flies. And the question is, does he have that right based on these two claims? Now I'm saying specifically based on these two claims because the whole discussion in the tshuva I find is to answer if this is a tam strong enough to push, to decide what to allow your neighbor to do and what not to allow the neighbor to do. But there's actually a third part that it's not discussed as part of a complaint he could have had. That is in Shulchan Aruch and the Rambam and the Gemara, they discuss how neighbors have to get along and what you're allowed to, if you are in a condominium and you're in an apartment building, what other things are you allowed to do in your house? The fact that maybe if you add traffic, people living in this building are hoping to have a quiet life, and if you're going to have a play group or if you're going to have anything that's going to attract a lot of traffic to the building, maybe for that you have a reason to protest and ask him to move. And that's not discussed in part of this shuvah, but that is a discussion in halacha. If common practice is that you don't attract too much oivrim v'shavim, traffic coming here, and now for this short period of time there's going to be 100, 200, 300 people, that also might be a complaint. All right, so let me tell you how there's a sefer, I saw this in a sefer called Lechem Toiv, and he has this as a shaila tshuva, and he says like this. Let's discuss these two issues. The first issue was that he doesn't, I would like to stop you from hosting the kaparas because I don't like the sight of blood. And therefore, it's uncomfortable for me. So he actually says, and this is a discussion that he brings, it's connected to the concept of hezek riyah, where a person does damage by his sight. But he points out a very good point. He says, according to most of the opinions, this only applies in reverse. Reverse means that if not that in this case, you're doing something that I don't feel comfortable with. You're going to be shechting chickens, and there's going to be blood there, and I don't feel comfortable seeing blood. So I'm going to ask you to either put a separation or go elsewhere. That's not the typical hezek riyah. Hezek riyah is where I find that you're looking into what I do, to my business. I don't have any privacy rules. So because you're opening up a window towards my backyard and I don't have any privacy, I will ask you to build a wall so I should have privacy. In this case, it's not the hezek riyah that I want to have privacy. I want you away because I don't want to be able to see what you're doing. That's not the typical hezek riyah. Number one. Number two, even if it is hezek riyah, if we find that Chazal tell us hezek riyah applies by a thing that's continuous, a thing that always happens. If it's going to be open, there's going to be a ayin hara. People are going to watch, and people are going to look. But this is only a temporary thing for a couple hours. I don't even know if hezek riyah apply. For those couple of hours, don't look that direction. You don't feel comfortable seeing the sight of blood, make sure for those couple hours you won't be there. Maybe it won't work there. Then it comes to the second discussion about the chickens will attract bugs and flies. So he says, I don't know if that's a reason enough to have right to push your neighbor away. Why? You could stop a neighbor from doing hezek, from doing damage. But if the damage that's happening is not direct, he's bringing chickens, and the chickens are attracting flies and bugs. That's not a direct damage that he's causing. That's happening because of the chickens. Obviously, it's not a good thing, but is it powerful enough that you should be able to have the right to tell him, get the chickens? He's not causing you a direct damage. But then he speaks about, how about the possibility of using another reason to kick him out, tell him to stop him? I'm sure if he would go ask the government doesn't allow you to shech chickens in the backyard. So if the government doesn't allow you to shech chickens in the backyard, may he use the din of the malchusa. May he use the din of the malchusa as a power to ask him to move, ask him to stop what he's doing. Here too he comes up with an interesting chiddush. He says, din of the malchusa is only apply when the Torah doesn't allow it, and the din of the malchusa does allow it. Then there's a discussion. In this case, it's fakir. The Torah doesn't have anywhere an issue with if a person wants to shech in his backyard. The Torah, as a neighbor, have no right to push him away. To say that because of din of the malchusa, you should be pushed away, he says, I don't know if that's valid. And because of all these three uncertainty, if you have the power, then the muhzik, the one who has the right, is the one who's doing it, because he says, based on all this logic, it could very well be that none of these claims are strong enough to push your neighbor away from doing this mitzvah.